Hey, I know a lot of you have been watching the news lately and you've seen the differences in our world and the things that are going on. Protests, giant floods, terrible ideas coming forth. Benjamin Netanyahu having problems with the law. Gosh, I hope he makes it through it just fine. And the question now comes into play is that with all these bad people in charge that are doing bad things, did bad people get at Jeffrey Epstein? That's a big question mark. I remember when I was in jail, because, gosh, I don't know any good American that hasn't been to jail, do you? I mean, there's good Americans, but usually most of us, one out of every eight's been to jail for something. We had what's called a prison duty, and they would come in and clean the cells at about 2 a.m. in the morning. And they would do it once a week. And so they would come in and they would be let in by the guards, or they would even have their own buzz-in feature, and they would clean up. Now, if I was somebody that was in the prison system, jail system, and I was wanting to kill somebody, what I would do is I would get a small crew of people together, right? And I would go in and I would have what's called clone keys. I would take somebody's ring of keys that opens the doors, because you have to have keys for the doors in case there's a fire. You can't leave them in there. If you lose electricity and they're burnt to death, my gosh, could you imagine what the Democrats would say? They'd freak out. You killed all those poor prisoners. So they have extra keys, so you can open those doors up. Those doors, when they're unlatched, automatically come open. Now, what I would do is I would go into the room and I would make him kneel down, right? I would force him down, and then I would grab him by the back of the neck and put my knee to the back of his back, and I would put something like a garrote around his throat, and I would pull up and hard on it, right? And I would just choke him to death from behind. Maybe force him against the wall, pretend like I was going to do something, and force him against the wall, and then throw that around the neck, and then just pull him back, and then tie him up on the bed and leave him there like he had hung himself. And then the string would come up like this, and it would crush these two bones on the side, because that's cartilage, right? It's cartilaginous. And then the imprint on the back would show the knee or the bracing of it, because the person would struggle, right? But you wouldn't want them to struggle, so their arms would be out, right? Kind of like, not touching anything, because you'd be making him die. You'd be garroting him. And there's a lot of people that would want him to die. And that's how I would do it. Then I would just simply tie him up to the bed, lock the door, close the door, lock the door, leave the area, go out to my vehicle, and pretend like nothing happened. And if I was a guard taking a kickback from that, I would just pretend like I was sleeping. I would just pretend like nothing happened at all. I would put the video camera on loop. I'd run a loop assembly on the video camera. I wouldn't let anyone know. The best way for someone to come in at that time in the morning would be through the kitchen access, because usually there's deliveries at that time in the morning. So you basically come when the delivery comes, which could have been that night, and then just come on through like you're a regular prisoner, put on prisoner garb, push around a garbage can like you're supposed to be there. Nobody would know any better. The guards were sleeping. This man was taking small children from foreign countries and putting them on an island where rich people were going and having sex with these children. And then when they were done with these children, he was taking their bodies to another island and he was killing them. He was murdering these children. You have to wonder how many rich people around the world can afford to just have a new vagina every week. How much does it cost to have a new vagina? Or perhaps you're gay. Maybe you like little boys. How much could it cost you to have Jeffrey Epstein find you a little boy? Maybe profile one. I want a little boy with red hair from North Dakota. And then the next thing you know, there's a missing persons, but Jeffrey Epstein knows who that person is. I mean, whose secret is it? Is it Victoria's secret? Does she have a secret? Whose secret is it? The truth of the matter is we all know what was going on. The moment we saw Bill Clinton there in a blue dress, we knew what was going on. Only a madman has Bill Clinton in a blue dress in his house. A madman.